Worried about conflicting signals? Shut up. No one cares. So throughout 2025, there will be conflicting signals everywhere. And you've already got a taste of it. I'm telling you, I'm bullish for 2025. And I've also said, well, according to 3 out of 3 cycles, it's a net seller's year. So some people are already having a cry about it. You're just going to get muted because you haven't paid any attention. Okay, we didn't have any time for people like that. So if you're going to go cry in the corner, move. For the rest of us, you understand this. Now, 3 out of 3 times, next year's the net seller's year. You got 2 options, I guess. One of them, just sell 2% every week for the whole year, and then you're done. Or you can try time the top. Q4 of next year, you sell a third in October, a third in November, a third in December, you're done. Okay? There might be a wild card in the January after that, but that's it. Now, here's the thing. You might say, well, what if next year, what if the 4-year cycle breaks? Okay. Think about your chance of that. So I don't know what's going to play out. Okay. Just think about your odds. What odds do you think are going to be attributed to the 4-year cycle breaking? Do you think there's a 50% chance? You think about it. Do you think it's like a 10% chance or 50 or like 90% chance? Let's say you want to keep it simple. You're like, you know what? My friend saw me wearing a bull hat. No! I think there's an actual coin toss. I think we've actually got a 50% chance. And that's okay, man. It's okay. It's your decision. If you believe there's a 50% chance the 4-year cycle will be broken and we're going to run for 2026, well, do you remember I said you would sell 2% per week next year? Well, if you believe it's going to get broken, you could only sell 1% a week next year. Or when you get to October, November, December, you sell 50% in that 4th quarter, okay? So basically, you sell 50% of your portfolio throughout next year. So you walk into 2026 with 50%, I guess, you know, a BTC, USD split, you decide that, and 50%, just your current stack, whatever that is. Maybe it's Ethereum, altcoins, maybe you want to keep Bitcoin in there, whatever. You get it? 50% you don't touch from this year, right now. Remember, I've done it a 50-50 thing. Now, I don't know what's going to play out. Okay, I don't know. Because, like, if you walk into 2021 and you use all the past data, if you go off price targets, you get wrecked. If you go off time targets, you got it right, though. It's just you were underwhelmingly, yes, you were disappointed by the prices that were given. Okay, because 2021 was a truncated scam piece of trash cycle. You had, they robbed the deep state, robbed Donald Trump. Plus, you had China pretty much robbed us. They caused a 50% crash in Bitcoin, killed the whole bull market, okay? I hope we get the double alt season. So, I'm just showing you this, friends. This is, you see this fire extinguisher? You're going to have to be putting out fires all next year. And fires in your mind. You're going to be reading so many conflicting signals, dude. That's it. I'm just preparing you. I don't owe you anything. You don't owe anyone else anything. No one owes you and me crap. You get it? If they want to change their mind tomorrow, they're allowed to, okay? If you're watching someone and you're new and, you know, maybe you got another friend, you introduce them and then they're having a cry because they're like, oh, I can't get a clear signal from this person. Okay, dude, welcome. The market's going to pump with or without you, okay? Step aside, it's going to go do what it's going to do, okay? So people who are trying to fight this stuff, fight their emotions, they're like, years and years and years behind, okay? They'll literally just slow everybody down. So, overwhelmingly, it feels like, based off everything that's happened before, that 2025 will be a momentum year. Trading momentum. Now, I hope the momentum just goes up, okay? If we get scammed like 2021, it's going to be up and down. But for the most part, it'll be up and down and up again, okay? So, it's a momentum year. What does momentum year mean? It means, I guess everybody's buying next year with the intention to sell. Now, that is rational mind thinking. That is obviously not realistic in terms of, like, you know how humans work. So humans aren't trading to maximize their money they make. They're trading to maximize their dopamine. So they're joining in a crowd. They got these feelings of getting rich. Remember, there's fear. They have the fear of missing out. Everyone's getting rich without me. It's going to keep going. So perhaps at the end of next year, we get a big fat news event that makes people scared to sell. You can dream about what that news event will be. I don't know what it's going to be. Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, US Fed cuts rates by like 50 basis points, and they go, you know what, we're going to turn on the money printers. It could be, you know, US Fed also says, you know what, we're dumping some of our gold to buy Bitcoin. Something appearing where you're like, oh crap, the 4-year cycle might break. Okay, but if everyone starts thinking like that, it just gives you more reasons to not believe the hype. Now, I know, friends, you're dealing with the crowd. Everyone's going to believe the hype, okay? Just like I was yelling into the open space, telling everybody to buy Bitcoin in 2022. No one cared. Because the news was so bad. The news overwhelms you. And it affects me too, but just your emotions are just way, way, way too strong. The dopamine's cut off. There's just too much fear. So I know it's going to happen on the upside though. So me saying, hey man, we hit our dreams and the targets are up and the time's up. Time's up. Yeah, we wanted higher. I'm always going to say that. Yeah, we wanted higher. I wanted to go longer too, but time's up, man. We had 3 green up years in a row. We've had absolutely no indication that the 4-year cycle is broken so far. None. None, none, none. 0. So it's up to you now. Because 2026, if it repeats, we'll have 8 red monthly candles for Bitcoin. And it doesn't even matter if all 8 red monthly candles are 2%. It doesn't matter. The fact that it's 8, altcoins obliterated. That's pretty much what we've learned from the past. So if you're a retailer noob, I know what you want. Retailer noobs want one clear buy signal and one clear sell signal. So retailer noobs, they want the traffic light system. They're like, okay, tell me to be bullish, sir. Yes, I'm now all in. And then when it all turns, they will, okay, now it's time to be bearish. Habib, here's the thing, man. I've given you that system, okay? It's green weekly super trend on Bitcoin, all right? But, big but. When it flips red, see this? How many times I told you? When it flips red, your altcoins are down 50 to 65% from the top, which is actually all right, man. Because like if you made a 30x and then it flips red, now it's only around like up a 14x. And if you're happy with the 14x today, but you're not going to be happy because you watched the 30x, you thought it was going to go higher like everyone else. You're following the system. So now the trend changes. You're like, oh, it's 14x. Like I'm not going to sell that now. I'm selling on a big dip that keeps getting bought up in the year. So you're scared of selling the low, right? But that would be it. Also, if you go back to 2017, when Bitcoin flipped red here, friends, I mean, this is January 2018, okay? Bitcoin flips red, okay? Bitcoin flips red January 2018. So what I'm now going to do is, this is the end of January, okay? January, Feb, March. So basically, actually, if you go back to 2021, let's see how much time you have to get out as well. Okay, so it flips red here in January, Feb, March. Okay, so you got about 2 months. Around 2 months. You actually got 3, but you know, in the context of time and stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check 2013 cycle. This went so parabolic. This is February, okay? February, March, April. So you're deep into the bear market here, okay? This was a double bubble. So what I'm now going to do is, because I've seen, okay, when you flip red on the weekly super trend for Bitcoin, which is pretty much shown like it's changed direction the other time, I want to know, like, okay, do we have much time to like exit? So what I'll do is I'll show you Corridanzo. Let's go to 2018. Corridanzo, friends, remember, Bitcoin flips red at the end of January. There you go. Okay, here you go, Habib. See that, friends? You are down from the top. Okay, it's down 76%. You got to get out here. You're down 70%. So keep that in your mind. You go, okay, Sami, I'm following the trend. Now it's time to be bearish in my mind when this flips red. Okay, you're down 70% from the top. What about someone like Doge back then as well? Okay, actually, friends, what I'll do is I'll tell you, when did Bitcoin flip red as well? It flipped red in January of 2022. Corridanzo, in our recent cycle, you're down 70% again. So like, isn't that interesting? 2 times the end of the cycle. Okay, so not next year. It would be like January. So whatever happens, you're down. It's selling. You're selling out about like 70% from the top. But don't think about 70% from the top. You should be like happy that you bought in like at the bottom. Because what I should tell you is like, this is Cardano, but let's say your average price, friends. Let's say your average price, you were buying Cardano. Let's say you're getting it at like 10 cents. Well, it looks like you're selling down here. But look at this. From your 10-cent buy, you are still up. Let's go January. You're still up at a 9x. But yeah, it did go 26x up the top, but you're still up 9. But that's the price you pay, okay? Because you're following a trend. The trend helped you stay on there the whole time. You didn't know it was going to turn, and it did turn, okay? What I'll now do is I'll show you Doge, because luckily for you, friends, highest value content in crypto. We are checking these out. Remember in 2017 cycle, friends, when did Bitcoin flip red? Remember, end of Jan. So Doge in 2018, it is down, oh my gosh, you're down 78% again. Okay, you're down literally 78%. Remember, end of January, it flipped red, the weekly super trend, and then you have to get out in this January, February, March. So you got to sell Doge down here. And yeah, man, you are selling. Here's January, end of January, here it flips red here. Bitcoin, you have to sell out on like these little areas down here. So you're selling 70% from the top. Again, another coin, another thing. I already know that the next number is 80% for Doge. In 2021, remember, January 2022, remember, you're waiting for Bitcoin to flip red on the weekly super trend. Here you go. You're down like 80% from the top. But once again, if you bought Doge here in that bear market, yeah, you were up. I think it was like 150x at the top. But then up here, you're only up like 34x. You're still up 34x, right? You see the point, friends? You see what's going on here? Let me show you Tron. Tron from 2017. Okay, remember Tron, friends, if you go to the end of January when it all explodes, here you go. You're down 87% from the top. But if you got in Tron on that beginning area, you are still up 15x. Interesting. They're very, very rare. That's 2017, man. That was the king year. You know what I mean? The king year. What about in 2021? Because this was a dampened run for Tron. So Tron, if you're waiting till January 2022 when Bitcoin flips red on the super trend, okay, you are selling 65% down. But here's the thing. You got a terrible return. You only went 5x on side from your like average price in the bear market. And now you're only on side like 2x. Yeah, 2x. So you're like, man, that sucks. Like I waited this whole time. I was up 5. Now I'm only up 2. Yeah. You picked the wrong coin. That's the reality of the situation. And now I'll show you Hex, friends. Remember Hex? Lucky I know all these off by heart. That's why you're my friend. Now, remember Hex? I told you Bitcoin flipped red on the weekly super trend in January. Here you go, right? So if you want to get out in that January, February, you know, from where we are today, it's like, okay, you went on side 52x, and now you're on side like 25. Yeah, because if you look at it, okay, remember it had a bit of the Pulse X thing, so this helped. But let's say your real price you got to exit is actually down here, 60 to 70% down. Okay, you got to get out. You just literally just got to get out. It's very, very hard to do it because you've been riding dopamine the whole time, and now you're like, man, because no one wants to take the loss. No one wants to take that loss. You remember this like, oh my gosh, we're going up and up and up and up, and then everyone's saying, you can't sell dips. You got to buy the dip. You got to buy the dip. You got to buy the dip. Yeah, but when it's all done, the dip becomes like an acceleration to the floor. So you see this. So I've given you another system if you want. So there, remember, I gave you the layman person. Okay, you can, if you want, there's different strategies. Okay, but you probably end up with the same result everywhere. Okay, you can sell 2% every week next year, or 1%, or you can go to the end of next year and you sell like, 50 or 100% at the end of next year, in just that fourth quarter. You can try to time it. Okay. And then this is using that weekly super trend. That is like your emergency. By the way, friends, it's not like, oh, I'm such a genius, I'm using the weekly super trend. There will be an enormous amount of FUD. You'll know. Okay, you won't even need the super trend. It's like, look when the super trend flipped red, when China, evil scam government, freaking scammed us here. Look when it flipped red. It flipped red. Bitcoin was already 34K. It was such a shock. Like Bitcoin dropped. This killed the bull market. It was game over. And then you had to gamble that it was coming back up, which it did, luckily. But then you had to get out anyway. Okay. So remember this period, January, February, March. So if you want, friends, you can wait for that weekly super trend to finally roll over. Now, here's the thing. If you're scared about an extended super cycle, if you're scared of that, then you just have to follow the super trend. That's it. Okay. If you're scared, you just follow the super trend. Because, yes, in January of 2026, okay, so Bitcoin goes up, happily this happens. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the super trend here. I'm just going to imagine its line up here. Let's say it almost fakes it out. Everyone thinks we're going on a bear market, and that happens, okay? So Bitcoin, right, comes back down. Remember, Bitcoin comes down here, and then bang. But what I'm going to show you is, like, let's say Bitcoin is this 270. Look at this. Look at that number. See, 49%. Bitcoin has already dropped. And see, this is the green weekly super trend. It becomes red, and it'll look like that. That's now the red super trend. It's up the hop. So Bitcoin here is down 50% from the top. And then there's like these January, February, March area. And they've just like, there's this little like scam retracement of like the final let out, which is where, if you go back in time, friends, this is where Crypto Crew University Steve, he changed his mind. This is also where Uncle Bobby Lucas, he sold. He got out. Yeah, it was around here. This is when there was a China-Russia. There was the Russia war stuff happened. And then, yeah, and even, friends, there's a, you know this part, this candle here? This candle here was Do Kwon buying 40,000 BTC. So I wonder if, like, in January, February, March of, like, 2026 in that bear market, Michael Saylor does, like, the final, like, you know, $20 billion purchase of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And it makes the lower high. And everyone, because friends, that's why everyone will be like, Michael Saylor, he just bought $20 billion worth. But what end up happening is he just gets full on rejected. Okay? So you now have these strategies. You have to decide on that. Okay? You have to stress. But you can decide. Okay? So, you know, you can get rid of it all part during the year. You can time it at the end of the year. Or, you know, you can just say, you know what, Sammy? I'm just going to wait for that green weekly super trend flip on Bitcoin to flip red. Once it flips red, okay, I'm getting out in the next 30 days. It's over. So that's good, friends. That's good. But you understand, though, when it flips red, it's such a big confirmation signal that altcoins, they're already down 65 to 70%. Okay? So if you're going to try time the tops, you have that. And, you know, you might do half and half. That's another thing, friends. You might sell 50%. You keep it simple, right? So you go, okay, you know what? 50% I'm just going to sell at the end of next year based off time. And the other 50% I'm going to sell when the red weekly super trend flips for Bitcoin. Okay? But remember, as soon as it flips, okay, you can't just like be paper. Look, obviously not financial advice, but you can't just be like paper handing lows, but you kind of got to, but like there'll be like a little retracement of justice that lets people out, which is like, and it takes a while. Look what happened here. See, we flipped red, friends, and then like around this zone, look how long it took, by the way. So you had January, February, March, and look at even, see, friends, look at the markets, man, so hard here. It went and it actually did a green candle. So I just want you to think about the psychology of you when you're like, you've sold here and you're just watching this thing reverse. And look at this. Look what came out here, friends. Dildo Kwon said he just bought 40,000 BTC. And you know what people were drawing here? Because I know this, friends, because I was drawing it too. We all had this copium. People were drawing this freaking triangle, bro. They thought, oh, look at this. Bitcoin's doing this triangle. We're going to go up for one more crack up. We're going to go into the year, hit 100K. That's what everyone thought. Doesn't look like that's why all these TA friends, TA is just a bunch of BS, okay? Just don't follow this TA garbage stuff. Oh, I'm a technical analyst. Shut up, bro. Just shut up, okay? It's going to get you trapped, okay? You see this? Oh, look at the perfect channel, friends. Look what happens next. Bang! Bang! No! It's still good. It's still good. No! Man. I got PTSD. I got PTSD watching that, by the way. So there you go, friends. So I gave you the most insight you need. Let me know what you think, friends. Let me know what you think. Do you think... do you feel like you just want to ride the whole trend, wait till Bitcoin flips, and then get it all out? So are you okay with that? Because, you know, you are... The reality is everyone says, yeah, I'll do that because that means it's all over and I won't FOMO out. But yeah, that means you could have like an $800,000 portfolio at the top. Yeah. And when it confirms, you will have a $240,000 portfolio now. Okay. And you got to get out. Are you prepared for that? Now, obviously, you can't say you're going to sell at 800K, duh, because that means you know the top. So the same person going to sell at 800K, you might have sold way earlier. You see? You just don't know how far these things go. That's why, look, no matter how you split it, you're going to end up in the same place, pretty much. You're kind of averagely selling around an area. Okay, that's how the big whales do it, okay? That's why, friend, that's why, not only did I tweak my nipples every day here for you, but I've told you, people who tell you we're going 1,000x, like we're just dreams, man. They're just dreams. Like the only way you actually really win is like, not financial advice. You went turbo long with me. You went turbo, giga, hyper aggressive long. So long, so stupid. You bet more than you can afford to lose in the bear market, okay? Because when the number flies and it comes back, you have a higher probability of making the right decision. Because you're not tied to a number. Because you're way more invested than you should be. See? So let's put it simply. Yeah, there's a guy out there. Maybe his name's Jerry, okay? Jerry's got like $1,400. Okay, now Jerry's not getting a bit randy if, you know, he goes up 34x and now it's only up like 16x and he's meant to get out. He's not getting randy for that. He's like, you know what I mean? Like he's, man, that's like, you know, that doesn't change my life. Yeah, but there are people out there, friends. They should be in like $5,000 and their wives don't know. They've got like 40 grand in. Okay, they got 40 grand. So, you know, and then there are people on top of that. They've got like 140,000. So imagine someone like 140,000, if they're up like, and think about it, they're just dreaming to make $1 million, yeah? So if they go up like a 20x on their 140,000, now they're at 2.8 million, yeah? And they're like just been riding at the euphoria the whole time, but then by the time maybe it confirms, they have like actually 980,000. It's more clearer for them to make that right decision to kind of like to play it out. See, so, but like you have to work on that yourself. Everyone's got a different number. Everyone lives in a different country. There's different standard livings out here. Like there's $9.50 for orange juice here in Dirt Island, Australia. You know what I mean? So it's not all roses and fairies. But you understand the game now. So you can't have both worlds. You can't try to perfectly pick a top and be 100% comfortable. You won't get that because most likely you keep getting it wrong. Okay, you can't perfectly do that. And trust me, there's going to be different alt season, different memes, farty, poopycorn, all these other things wild, okay? So it's going to be probably chaos. So if you're in the business of trying to pick those top stuff, you're just going to have to let go of the fact you're just going to be selling early in places. And if you wait for the trend, well, kind of selling late. But you can't think about it like that. What you got to think about is when it comes time for, say, December. Say December 2025 is here, okay? The market, friends, remember, it doesn't care how much you made or Jerry made or Tom made or Jessica made. Okay, it doesn't care about them. It doesn't matter where you're long from. It doesn't care that Michael Saylor owns like 8% of the Bitcoin supply now, and if he goes down, he's sending down the US government. It doesn't care. That's one of my prophecies, by the way. I think the US Treasury bonds might actually get impacted by Bitcoin. That's for another time. So remember, the market doesn't care. It's going to do whatever it's going to do. So remember, I drew this here for you. Remember, this is like the Bitcoin price chart, comes back down, flips red. In this zone, friends, in 2026, okay, okay, it doesn't care where you're long. In 2026, so here's 2026 starting, okay, there's going to be, what's happened in the past is there will be 8 red monthly candles. And what we learned from the past is, it doesn't matter how big their size is. It could be 2%, could be 10%, doesn't matter. There is just a liquidity drain because everything's rehypothecated on each other, okay? So that's all you got to be thinking about. As you move into 2026, there's like, uh-oh, clouds are coming and starting to rain. I better get an umbrella. That's what it is. To just keep surviving, okay? Keep surviving. And what I'm saying now is, for obviously friends, I know you're listening now. Everyone's listening, paying very, very careful attention. In 2025, no one's going to be listening. No one. Because everything I'm talking about is, I'm basically being the adult. And I'm like, you know, you gotta protect yourself. Like, no one wants to listen to that. No one. We just want the price to keep going higher. And what people will do is, they will actually, friends, they'll get skits. So what they'll do is, like, because friends, people make up stuff in their head. So even though, like, I'll say, hey man, I'm still bullish. I think we're going to go higher, but I've been taking profit along the way. So that conflicting message in people's brains, will get them angry. The crowd will get angry. They go, because you're seen as leaving the party. All right, you're seen as a literal, like, a non-believer. You're leaving the party. Like, oh no, you're clicking exit. How could you be leaving? You know what I mean? That's wrong. So they stop watching and they just go chase someone else who goes, don't worry, we're going to hit the 4.326 log fib extension. We got another 15x to go. You know, this cycle's broken. The 4-year cycle, it's not working, this one. It's going to, you know, we got another 2 years left in it. This guy made a lot of money, and that's why, friends, that's what happens, man. They'll find that one guy, probably a twink, he calls every move of the market, and then it comes to the very, very end, he's going to make a big call, he's going to get it wrong. Okay, but he's going to be right every single way. This guy called the 100K and then the 70K and then the 120 and then the 115, and then he called this coin, and it's going to build and build and build a reputation. And then you got a planned bitch scenario at the very, very end, where just everyone's hopes and dreams are gone down. So if you're like a month too late with that, then it's pretty much game over. But yeah, you have the strategies now. I've given you the tools and the strategies, and it's outside of our control. So yes, if you want, like, absolutely, like, you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You could just do half and half, man. Half of it, try to time it. Half of it, wait for that weekly super trend on Bitcoin and go, that's it. But you know what I'd say as well, hey, so I mean, is there a way that this all completely fails? Yeah, and I'll show you. It was, and look, Fred, you gotta understand what you're betting on. Like, it's if you get this. It's if Bitcoin flips red on the weekly super trend, then it goes for another high. Okay, that's how things can screw up. Okay, that's how things can screw up for you. But, like, that's why fading the 4-year cycle is the ultimate widowmaker in this game. All right, that's what pretty much has happened. Now, if you were to ask me, what do I think happens? Well, in 2017, you can take some solace in this fact that we never flipped red on the weekly super trend the whole freaking way. We never closed a red week until the very, very end. Okay, the very end, my friends. That's when it finally flipped red, and that was end of January. Okay, so like, if you're like, if this repeats again, you go, Sammy, let's say you say to me, you actually think 2017 repeating, really, really, really strikingly similar again, and it's going to be next year, what would be the thing to do? It would be selling in November, December at the end of next year, and then if Bitcoin stops there, there's like a final alt season in January 2025, which is like 2018 here. So there was a final alt season here, the final rush up, okay, right here. This is the final. This is Bitcoin distributing up here, and it's the final alt season. So that would be if it repeated exactly the same. Okay, you have to weigh up. So like, if you take profit, you're not long for the final blow up. Okay, but if you don't and we're wrong, yeah, it's poopy time after that. Okay, so you now see it, friends. It's funny, man, that you hear all these X's. You're like, oh, this did a 40x, this did a 100x. No one's making it. No one's really making it for their whole portfolio. They're not. These things that you're just arbitrarily taking like a bottom to the top measurement of a lot of these. No one's actually really, in most of the cases, overall, okay, they're not making it. You see? So that's when it comes to, when we look back at the cycle and stuff, because you're looking at a whole picture and a whole scope. So I hope from here, friends, I've given you a lot more confidence. I can see it. But see, the system's the easy part. You know the system. You already know what to do. Okay. The hard part is wrestling in your mind with the portfolio number. Are you happy with it? Right? Because you don't know, man. You don't know. What if we're wrong? What if it does continue? You see, I've known this. Okay. Why do you think your friend Somi here, highest value content in crypto? Why do you think I literally spent every single freaking waking minute telling you to get turbo freaking long, turbo long this whole way? Why do you think I did that? It's because I know at the top, okay, at the top up here, you are your own worst enemy. I know it, okay? And everybody who got turbo long here, you know what? They don't all sell here, but you have the luxury of selling because you're turbo long. See, you don't ever sit there wishing, oh, I wish I went way more harder. Okay, I know you like a hard is a very family-friendly show, but yeah, I don't. I literally, there's no more blood left for me to give. Or I'm down to the bone. Actually, the bones are brittle now. There's nothing left. I'm literally just fart dust, just like crop dusting, friends. Just imagine a dusty fart. That's the type of energy I have left to give to go all in. I can't possibly go all in even more. You know what I mean? So I don't obviously tell people to do something like that, but they will regret it at the end of next year. So you have a full scope of this. You have to wrestle this with yourself. You know, obviously, just watch my videos, but dude, I already told you. I hope you have an appreciation. I already told you. I know how everyone's going to get trapped. Because it could be like, bro, why are you selling? You're not even up 30x yet. When you're up 30x, sell 20%. When you're up 50x, sell another 10%. When you're up 100x, and I'll be like gently reminding you, you know the market doesn't give one flying truck where you're long from. You know it doesn't. It's going to do whatever it's going to do. You know that, right? It doesn't care how on-side you are, bro. Bitcoin doesn't care that Richard Hart is a million X on-side, infinite return. It doesn't care. It doesn't care that, oh, okay, someone top blasted the highest price. It doesn't give you crap. Okay, it's gonna do whatever it's gonna do, and it doesn't. You're not entitled. Like, oh, I got in, so therefore, when it's up 30x for me, I'm gonna take profit. Like, that's such a self-centered, absolute low pleb level of thinking. But that's the mid curve. That's most people. That's why most people get trapped. That's why most people get trapped. They get anchored to that number. Okay. I think I've just taught you too much, friends. Like, subscribe, bell button, I'll catch you soon.